Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, where there's a new blog out by Wietse Wind titled Unburdening the Internet of Value as a Service. Now, of course, Wietse Wind, creator of the XRP tip bot, founder of XRPL Labs, which is funded through Ripple's Spring Initiative, and had really had an update from him, really, that I'd reported on the channel at least, so nothing particularly headline grabbing in some time, so it was fascinating to see something come across today, and so I wanted to share this with you. And there's an article about it I'll be running through. I also got some comments from the XRP community. And did you know that crypto's not dead? Despite the price action today, did you know that there's actually still people looking into this? Take a look at this. Google Trends, Bitcoin halving refutes non-existent retail interest. And on a gloomy day price-wise, it's fun to remember that, the maturation of the crypto asset class will continue to unfold, the infrastructure will continue to be built, and the sun will rise tomorrow. So it's going to be okay. But before I go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you just so happen to be a fan of Ripple and XRP, it is advisable, it is the responsible thing to do to subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. It's the only way that your life will truly ever be complete. You need Moon Lambo in your life, you know it. Alright, check it out. Wietse Wind, the founder of Ripple-backed XRPL Labs, says he's working on a solution to help crypto ventures in Europe deal with regulatory compliance. In a blog post, Wind says that although he's a supporter of regulating crypto, he's concerned about how upcoming European and Dutch laws could impact digital asset innovation. And yeah, and it's funny, this is something I actually kind of wanted to mention previously, and I'm glad it kind of popped in my head. As it pertains to MoneyGram, and I was just thinking about them, because obviously there's the interview that was released today between Julia Chatterley and Alex Holmes, who is a MoneyGram CEO. They're talking about how they don't want to have XRP on the books, and we already knew, of course, that's not exactly a surprise, right? But just think from a regulatory perspective, because he said, of course, regulations, those are the reasons. They're operating in over 22,000 freaking corridors. And so you can imagine that each country, municipality, perhaps even, if you're in a state, whatever it is, whatever part of the world you're in, there's going to be all sorts of different ways that humans are approaching this whole new asset class and blockchain in general. And it's kind of a nightmare, right? Kind of muddies the water when all sorts of different government entities the world over have all sorts of different expectations, views, and requirements. Anyway, the Dutch Central Bank announced in September that it would begin regulating crypto firms on January 10th. Now, Wind notes that these new regulations, like many that are already in place in other European Union countries, will require registration, supervision, audits, and regular collection of Know Your Customer (KYC) information, as well as reporting suspicious transactions to Dutch authorities. And interestingly enough, maybe one of the most recent videos I had where I was talking about developments from XRPL Labs was when Wietse Wind was talking about how, due to regulation, the XRP tip bot was going to have to change. I don't know how many of you remember that or if you caught that story, but XRP tip bots ultimately, and I'm going to run through all the specifics, but just from a regulatory perspective, it was going to require some of these checks, like from KYC. And then as far as implementing all of these new requirements, there could be a cost associated with it. And then there's a concern, okay, is XRP tip bot going to continue to be utilized in the same way that it is today when it's more or less regulation-free? But anyway, here's a quote from Wietse Wind now. Excuse me. This makes perfect sense to me, and I am sure regulation is a good thing to a growing and maturing ecosystem, making its way to more and more use cases and users. However, think about all those new and innovative use cases. Think about micropayments. Think about streaming payments, the internet of value. Now imagine all small teams of developers, crypto enthusiasts, innovators, having to get contracts with KYC providers, anti-money laundering data providers, defining risk profiles, scanning transactions, AML-related interactions with customers. Think about the costs associated in starting even the smallest crypto project, which, of course, to me is a perfectly reasonable way to be looking at this. One solution is to create a crypto regulatory compliance company to handle all of those tasks for crypto ventures, large and small. Now, that's fascinating. He says he's already gathered a small team of innovators, developers, and consultants, and that the venture will focus on providing services for EU regulations first. The idea, he explains, is for crypto platforms and apps to forward their end users to his new business. And here's a quote now again from Wietse. Once onboarded, the customer will be redirected back to the crypto platform/app with a token granting the crypto platform/app to use our API to pre-authorize transactions, check for customer account status, customer limits, etc., AML/risk profile related questions. Will even be interaction between the company and the customer. So this kind of cuts through a lot of the red tape, does it not? And then the quote continues, the one account with the company can be used to access all connected platforms and apps, sending just a minimal amount of personal information to the platform/app. Now that's cool stuff. So it seems like a bigger picture solution for a problem that really plagues not just certainly not just the world of XRP adoption, but just crypto adoption at large. Anyway, so far, Wynn says the venture is in its early stages. The next step is to analyze the project's viability from a legal and regulatory perspective. So hopefully that can all be worked out, because conceptually it sounds like an entity like that could be quite useful and would help with increasing the pace at which there's real-world adoption of the crypto asset class. And here's a tweet that I came across in my news feed on the Twitters from Yeshua Taylor. He wrote this. You see all the progress in the crypto space and all the progress Ripple has had over the past few years alone. HODL. This is just the early stages. The current price is a blessing, as many ran into XRP during the last bull run. Get it now and even out your cost. I just had to share that with you. I appreciate the mindset and the place that he's coming from with that. Here's a tweet that I came across in my newsfeed from XRP Crypto Wolf. Your mental health is one of the most important things in life, so if you ever need a break from social media, then I highly recommend it, because this 5-day break was very refreshing for me, and now I'm back. I don't care that the price hit 19 cents, since I know what's coming for XRP. So there's another confident XRP community member, and I'm right in line with that. The price action emotionally is not phasing me one bit. And also, welcome back, XRP Crypto Wolf. I miss getting direct messages from you. Send me more information. All right, last piece here. Google Trends. Bitcoin halving refutes non-existent retail interest. Bitcoin investors and mainstream consumers are paying more attention to the cryptocurrency's block reward halving in May 2020. Now, there's been a lot of speculation around just the idea of, will this halving, it'll be the third halving of Bitcoin in history, are speculators, retail investors going to behave differently around this? Is there actual genuine interest around this as a result? And that's why when I saw the title of this headline, I was like, oh, I'm definitely reading that one. According to data from Google Trends on December 17th, worldwide searches for Bitcoin halving have significantly increased in the course of 2019, over a year before the halving occurs. And even just initially reading that, when I read this article a little bit earlier today, because I've publicly on this channel just kind of shared my thought process, just the question of to what degree will the concept of this halving be priced into Bitcoin prior to it actually occurring. And I said, well, of course, some people are going to be savvy and long-term holders, and they'll factor that in, but I wasn't ever completely confident necessarily that that's what the wide majority of retail speculators are doing. But anyway, within the context of the past 5 years, interest is palpably higher, with only a brief period around the previous halving in 2016 seeing higher global search volumes. By contrast, results for Bitcoin have declined in recent months, echoing the lack of interest associated with the cryptocurrency's price decline. Now, as reported by, as Cointelegraph reported, both search terms saw increased activity in late November when Bitcoin markets entered a brief period of growth. Nonetheless, the heightened profile of the halving in particular did not go unnoticed among analysts. Commenting on the data, Adamant Capital co-founder Tour de Meester noted that many still perceive the halving as a Bitcoin price catalyst. And here's a quote. It's very clear that retail interest in Bitcoin is non-existent and investor sentiment is pretty bad right now. A question is whether the halving could provide a bullish narrative. The Google Trends data, in my opinion, suggests it could. and see, there you go. And so that's where the real interest is. Now, obviously, from the retail side, I'm certainly not denying, you can see it in the price action, that a lot of people are capitulating. They're holding up the white flag. So I'm not disputing that. I'm more so just kind of making the broader claim that there's still something to this. It still clearly is not going away, and people are looking into the fact that the halving is going to occur. And look, I still fully anticipate that when the halving occurs, XRP will still be tethered to the price of Bitcoin. So this still actually matters to the XRP community, even though big picture, of course, XRP will decouple. I have full confidence in that. I just don't know what the timeline's going to look like for that. So just onwards and upwards. I don't care. I'm just going to sit here holding and watch this stuff and keep reporting on what I find. Keep my head down. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because if anything I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!